Welcome back to You Can Understand Shakespeare. My name is John Donovan. I am a former English teacher, professional actor. I got my degree in English and my master's in education, and I love talking Shakespeare. You can understand it. It is difficult, I know. There's still times when I'm reading this and perhaps you even see it in my eyes where I go, wait a second, what does this mean? But if we overcome 3 obstacles, we can greatly increase our understanding of Shakespeare. So then we can do what we have to do, whether it's a paper or a project for English class, or we're in a book club, or we just simply want to be more well-read. Those 3 obstacles: performance, poetry, prior knowledge. This is a play. It's oftentimes poetry, and Shakespeare just knows more than us. That's what I'm here to help with. We're going to be busting through it. Let's get into it. Act 3, Scene 2. Mercutio and Tybalt have just been killed. Romeo has been exiled. Let's see what's happening across Verona with Juliet, who enters alone. She says, "Gallop apace," means quickly, you fiery-footed steeds, toward Phoebus's lodging. The fiery-footed steeds are the horses that carry Phoebus Apollo's, the sun god's, chariot, that are carrying towards Apollo's lodging, which is in the west. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. She wants nighttime to come quickly. Why? Because she just got married. And you do something very specific on your wedding night. So she's eager for that to happen. Such a wagoner, such a charioteer as Phaethon would whip you to the west. And Phaethon was the son of Apollo, who rashly attempted to steer his father's chariot across the sky. This is an ancient Greek story. So if you don't know that Apollo's first name is Phoebus, and if you're not familiar with the story of Phaethon, Apollo's son, who one day asks to drive the chariot, and he can't control the horses. He's not strong enough. He's not skilled enough, whatever it may be. The sun's flying over, it's scorching the earth, so Jupiter strikes him down with a lightning bolt in order to save the earth. If you don't know that, this wouldn't make a lot of sense to you. But that's what he's saying. He's saying, so gallop apace, you steeds that pull the sun. Such a wagoner as Phaethon would whip you to the west and bring in cloudy night immediately, because Phaethon's his problem was that he went really quickly with the horses. So she was wishing that it was Phaethon instead of Apollo. Spread thy close curtain, love performing night, that runaway eyes may wink. So spread thy close curtain, the covering curtain, the curtain of night. Spread that, cover up the sun. Why? Because we want love performing night. She's addressing love performing night. And there she just straight up says it. In night you perform love. That these runaway eyes, the runaway horses of the sun, or just any eyes who may be out and about, may wink, may close, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. People can't talk of their acts of love because they can't be seen, because it'll be nighttime. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites. And this is just playing off the thing of like runaway eyes will wink, they'll be closed because they can't see because night is covering it. But lovers can see to do their amorous rites. Amorous means pertaining to love, amor. Right? Rites are rituals. She is very, very clearly alluding exactly to what it is that she wants to do. But this is also keeping in line with the Catholic teaching on matrimony, that you have to give your word, your vow in the covenant of the marriage rite, but then also you actually only consummate the marriage. You truly become husband and wife, one flesh, when you literally become one flesh. So she wants to do this amorous rite to seal the wedding pact, but also probably because she is a little into Romeo. And by their own lovers can see to do their amorous rites, and by their own beauties. Or if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Remember, Cupid is blind. So if love be blind, it best agrees to night, which blinds us because we can't see. Come, civil night, solemn night. Thou sober-suited matron, all in black. That is a personification of night. Night is like a sober-suited matron, which is the opposite of a maid. It is a woman who is married. Thou sober-suited matron, all in black. And learn me how to lose a winning match. So learn me means teach me how to lose a winning match. The match is a competition. A husband and a marriage are a match that are won by surrendering. Quite literally, to lose the winning match. She loses by surrendering, giving up the match. But that's exactly what will happen in the sexual act, is that she will surrender, she will submit, and allow herself to be overcome. And these are all just various ways to talk about the marital act. Learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. The prize for winning this match will be stainless maidenhoods. And maidenhoods, virginity. What do you win? You win the pair of stainless maidenhoods. They're stainless because they have not been stained. They have not been. They are both still virgins. And it's a pair because she is assuming that Romeo is a virgin as well, which we don't know. He very well may be. Hood, my unmanned blood, my untamed or virgin blood, baiting in my cheeks. Baiting, fluttering like a restless falcon before its eyes are covered with a hood to calm it. You put a hood on a falcon, and once its eyes are closed, then it's very calm. It's very easy to handle a hooded falcon. So she's asking Night to hood my untamed blood, bait it in my cheeks with thy black mantle. Here we're still referring to Night, which is a sober-suited matron, all in black. With thy black mantle till strange love grow bold. Strange being shy. Strange can also mean like stranger, which means distant. This strange love, it's new and it's strange. She's never been this much in love before. She's never been a wife before. She's never had sex before. So all this is strange love, and that strange love, there's lots of that happening, being referenced here. Until it grows bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, Night, come, Romeo, come, thou day in night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, wider than new snow upon a raven's back. So there, where originally Juliet was the sun in the east, now she's saying that Romeo is the day in the night, that when he lies upon the wings of night, when he is lying in bed and night is surrounding them, he will be shining against it, white like snow on a raven's back. He is radiant in the night. Come, gentle night, come, loving, black-browed night. Night is again personified as having a black eyebrow. Give me my Romeo, and when I shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars. This is an imagined transformation. It's based on those in Ovid's Metamorphoses, whereby Romeo also dies and is also immortalized. The note here also means that die could mean have an orgasm. So, that's what he could be talking about. When I shall die, when I have that moment there, when I die to myself, when I die in passion, take him and cut him up into little stars. This is oftentimes in Greek mythology, when someone wants to be immortalized, the gods would take them and make them into constellations. Orion was a famous hunter who was immortalized in the stars by the gods. And he will make the face of heaven so fine, being a constellation in the sky, that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. They'll love seeing his constellation so much that no one will love the sun anymore. They'll love nighttime because they get to see the constellation of Romeo. Oh, I have bought the mansion of a love, but not possessed it. I bought the mansion of a love. I have been wedded to Romeo and the mansion of his body, but I have not possessed it, meaning we have not done the deed. And though I am sold, the image is verb. First, Juliet buys the mansion, and then she becomes the sold house. And though I am sold, she bought the mansion, Romeo. And though I am sold to him, not yet enjoyed. I have not yet enjoyed the house. I am the house. And what do you do with a house? You enter a house. So she has been sold as a house in this marriage. She sold herself, but she has not been enjoyed. No one has gotten to come live within her, literally. So tedious is this day as is the night before some festival, to an impatient child that hath new robes and may not wear them. Imagine you get a nice looking cool new set of robes or clothes that you're going to look so fancy at Christmas or maybe at a school dance, but you can't wear them yet and you're just waiting until you can wear this. She is getting so impatient, at which point enters the nurse with cords. Oh, here comes my nurse. And she brings news in every tongue that speaks, but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence. Eloquence is when you are very good at speaking. So any name, any tongue that speaks Romeo's name is speaking the words of heaven. Now, nurse, what news? What hast thou there, the cords that Romeo bid thee fetch? Those cords is the rope ladder that Romeo has told her to get so that he can climb up to Juliet's room tonight so they can have this match, so to speak. So they can do everything that Juliet has just been imagining. Aye, the cords. Ay me, what news? Why dost thou wring thy hands? So that's a stage note in Juliet's language, that the nurse should be wringing her hands. She should be looking very nervous. It should be very obvious to Juliet there's something wrong with the nurse, or at least that the nurse knows of something wrong. Well a day. He's dead, he's dead, he's dead. We are undone, lady, we are undone. Alack the day. He's gone, he's killed, he's dead. Juliet, can heaven be so envious? Envious is where you are sorrowful at another's gain. Another way, a common synonym, they're not exactly, but it'll do, is jealous. When heaven is envious, of a life, it says that they take that life, right? This is a way of talking about death. Only the good die young. It's because heaven wants that good person, so that person is killed, so heaven can take it for himself. Now, there's a little bit of a miscommunication here. Who is the nurse talking about? Tybalt. She's talking about Tybalt. Tybalt is dead. She's not upset about Mercutio. We know for a fact that the nurse does not like Mercutio. But who has Juliet been thinking about? Romeo. So she thinks that Romeo is dead. Nurse: Romeo can, though heaven cannot. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, whoever would have thought it? Romeo. And the nurse isn't helping it because she's bewailing the fact that Romeo has done this deed and Romeo is exiled. And Juliet is just thinking, Romeo's dead. What devil art thou that dost torment me thus? Dust means does. What devil are you that thus torment me? This torture should be roared in dismal hell. Hath Romeo slain himself? Has he killed himself? Say thou but I, and that bare vowel I shall poison more than the death-darting eye of a cockatrice. So, has Romeo slain himself? Say thou but I. I is an affirmative. It means yes. If you say yes, that bare vowel I shall poison more than the death-darting eye of a cockatrice. A cockatrice is a mythical creature that if you look it in the eyes, immediately kills you. And so if you say that Romeo's killed himself, and I now, by that I, that vowel sound I, learned that my husband is dead, that is death to me. That is death to me more surely than the immediate glance, the poison, the death-darting eye of a cockatrice, whose mere eyes alone can kill. I am not I if there be such an I. There's a pun. I am not I. I am not myself, meaning that I die, for example, or I'm taken away from myself because Romeo is myself. He is my heart. All these things. If there be such an I, a yes, an affirmative answer. Or those eyes shut that make the answer I. Or close your eyes that makes the answer, or those eyes shut that make the answer I. If he be slain, say I. Or if not, no. Brief sounds determine my weal, my welfare, or woe. And she has good reason to ask for the nurse to be brief. Just say I or no. Nothing else you need to do. Because remember, earlier the nurse took a page and a half just to tell her to go to the Friar Lawrence's cell. The nurse is not brief. Nurse: I saw the wound. I saw it with mine eyes. God, save the mark. Here on his manly breast, a piteous corpse. A bloody, piteous corpse, pale as ashes, all bedaubed in blood, all in gore, blood. I swooned at the sight. She didn't answer aye or nay. So Juliet is still so freaking out. Oh, break my heart. Poor bankrupt, break at once. To prison, eyes, ne'er look on liberty. To prison. There we mean bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, to break financially, was punishable by imprisonment. So her eyes need to go to prison because her heart is now bankrupt. Ne'er look on liberty, vile earth to earth resign. The despised body, from Ecclesiastes, then shall the dust return to the earth that it was. So vile earth to earth resign, end motion here. That's the body. And thou and Romeo press one heavy bier. She's referring now to her own body. Vile earth. The earth that makes up her body is vile because it is keeping her spirit here on earth where Romeo no longer is. Vile earth to earth resign. Resign yourself to earth. When you resign, you quit your current station. So resign yourself to the earth. My body, go into the earth in a coffin. End motion here. Stop moving. The soul animates the body, and so when you're killed, you can no longer move. You no longer have animation. Your soul is parted from your body. And thou and Romeo press one heavy bier together beyond the bier. A bier, B-I-E-R, is a funeral bed. And her and Romeo pressing the one heavy bier is very similar to what she said, that my wedding bed is like to be my grave. Let me be buried on the same heavy bier in the same funeral bed as my husband Romeo. And now nurse says, oh, Tybalt, the best friend I had, which I'm sorry, Juliet is now willing that she's going to be dead. The nurse is upset, but I just go, Tybalt was the best friend that the nurse had. We really only see Tybalt kind of through Romeo's eyes, that he's constantly fighting and really angry, but I think that's ridiculous that Tybalt is apparently the nurse's best friend. Oh, courteous Tybalt, honest gentleman, that ever I should live to see thee dead. Now Juliet's confused. What storm is this that blows so contrary? The storm is her words, her emotion, how upset she is that blows so contrary to what we were just talking about. Is Romeo slaughtered? And is Tybalt dead? My dearest cousin and my dearer lord? Then dreadful trumpets sound the general doom. This refers to the apocalypse. In the book of Revelation, trumpets, when blown, will signal the end of times. So sound the general doom, for who is living if these two are gone? It makes more sense for Juliet to be upset over Tybalt's death, although the nurse is very motherly, right? And she probably doesn't mean that Tybalt is her best friend in our modern connotation, our modern understanding of the word. So Juliet just thinks that woes are being toppled on top of woes. Nurse, Tybalt is gone and Romeo banished. Romeo that killed him, he is banished. Juliet, oh God, did Romeo's hand shed Tybalt's blood? It did! Alas, the day it did! Oh, serpent heart hid with a flowering face. A serpent's heart is hid by a flowering face. Meaning, the serpent heart, perhaps in Romeo, a serpent heart that's hidden by a flowering face. Meaning, on the inside you are a serpent, an evil, devilish creature. That's very Book of Genesis. But you were hidden by a very pretty face. The outside did not match the inside. Did ever dragon keep so fair a cave? Beautiful tyrant, fiend angelical, dove-feathered raven, wolvish ravening lamb. Despised substance of divinest show, just opposite to what thou justly seemst. The reason why I'm keeping reading through all these, a damned saint, an honorable villain, all of these are paradoxes, right? She's saying that, Romeo had a serpent heart but a beautiful face. He's a beautiful tyrant. Tyrants are not generally very well liked. He's a fiend, a demon, angelical, looks as beautiful as an angel. A dove-feathered raven, that's a white bird versus a black bird. Despised substance, you are a thing that I despise, but you have the divinest show, you seem like a god. Just opposite to what thou justly seemst, to what you are the opposite of what you seem, a damned saint, an honorable villain. O nature, what hadst thou to do in hell when thou didst bower the spirit of a fiend in mortal paradise with such sweet flesh? Nature, what did you do in hell when you did bower, when you did lodge or enclose the spirit of a fiend in mortal paradise of such sweet flesh? The body was so beautiful and so enticing, but there's a fiend in there. Was ever book containing such vile matter so fairly bound? Was ever there a book that looked so beautiful that was just filled with awful things? Oh, that deceit should dwell in such a gorgeous palace. The nurse agrees. There's no trust, no faith, no honesty in men. All perjured. Perjury is when you swear under the oath of telling the truth. It's a crime if you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in court, and then you lie. All perjured, all men, all forsworn, all not. They're all wicked, all dissemblers. Ha! Where's my man? Give me some aquavitae, some brandy. These griefs, these woes, these sorrows make me old. Shame come to Romeo. And Juliet does not like this. Blistered be thy tongue for such a wish. He was not born to shame. Upon his brow, shame is ashamed to sit. So Romeo is not rightly born to shame. Shame is not his inheritance. Rather, shame was thrust upon him, and shame itself feels ashamed to be on Romeo. For 'tis a throne where honor may be crowned, sole monarch of the universal earth. Where honor. So honor may be crowned sole monarch of the universal earth. Now that she's heard the nurse curse Romeo, Juliet's going to flip back. She says, "Blister be thy tongue." Shame is ashamed to sit on his head. His head is a throne where honor, all good things, high praise, these types of things may be crowned sole monarch of the universal earth. His head's a throne, and only honor should be heaped upon him. And now she condemns herself. Oh, what a beast was I to chide at him, to say all these things that she just said, that he is all these paradoxes. And the nurse is puzzled by this. Will you speak well of him that killed your cousin? Shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? Ah, poor my lord, what tongue shall smooth thy name when I, thy 3 hours wife, have mangled it? So now she has sort of remembered herself. She goes, wait a second. Initially my alliance was to Tybalt, my kinsman, my cousin. I'm 3 hours married. I have to be allied with my husband. I have to think of him. Saying, oh, my poor my lord. What tongue shall smooth thy name, shall praise thy name, when I, thy 3 hours wife, have mangled it? If I'm going to drag your name through the mud, then who's going to speak well of it? But wherefore, villain, didst thou kill my husband? She's going back and forth. She's really struggling here, and this will take a spectacular bit of acting. Juliet's a complicated role, because she has to be, I'm with Romeo, but wherefore, meaning why? Wherefore, villain, didst thou kill my cousin? That villain cousin would have killed my husband. You can feel the cognitive dissonance within her. Wherefore, villain, did you kill my cousin? But villain cousin would have killed my husband. Back, foolish tears, back to your native spring. That's her eyes. So she wants the tears to go. She wants to take the tears back up in her eyes. Your tributary drops belong to woe. Tribute, paying, inflowing. A tributary is an inflowing of a river, but also it pays a tribute, it pays a tax. Your tributary drops belong to woe, which you, mistaking, offer up to joy. You are offering up to a joyfulness and appropriate occasion. My husband lives that Tybalt should have slain. And that's what makes sense of this past line. You're crying because something sad has happened, but really you should be crying from joy that your husband is alive. And Tybalt's dead that would have slain my husband. All this is comfort. Wherefore weep I then? She's having a break between her heart, which is so upset that her husband is killed, that Tybalt's dead, and her mind that says, I should be so happy that the man who is going to kill my husband is dead. She believes her allegiance, first and foremost, is to Romeo, not to her family. Some word there was worser than Tybalt's death that murdered me. I would forget it fain meaning gladly, but oh, it presses to my memory like damned guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Sinners recall the guilty deeds that damn them. Tybalt is dead and Romeo banished. So that is the word to her that keeps coming to her mind. There's some word there was worser than Tybalt's death. That single word is banished. It murders him. Hearing that Romeo is banished kills her on the inside. And she would gladly forget it, but it presses to her memory. That banished, that one word banished, hath slain 10,000 Tybalts. Just that one word is like Tybalt dying 1,000 times over, which we see how upset she is about that. Tybalt's death was woe enough if it had ended there, or if sour woe delights in fellowship, and needly will be ranked with other griefs. Why followed not when she said, Tybalt's dead? Thy father, or thy mother, nay, or both, which modern lamentation might have moved. Tybalt's death was woe enough. So if it had ended there, meaning if it was just Tybalt's death, that would have been woe enough. That would have been sorrowful enough. Or if sour woe delights in fellowship, if woe, which is sour, it's not pleasing, delights in fellowship, if woe likes having more woes accompanied. Remember, we have this phrase, misery loves company. And that could mean that whenever something miserable is happening or something woeful is happening, more woeful and miserable things are going to happen. So if sour woe delights in fellowship and needly and necessarily will be ranked with other griefs, will be accompanied by other griefs, why followed not when she said, Tybalt's dead, thy father or thy mother? So she's, nay, or both. So why did the words thy father is dead or thy mother is dead not follow Tybalt's dead? Or even both of them? To speak thy word is father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all, I skipped some words, which modern ordinary lamentation might have moved. But with a rear wind following Tybalt's death, Romeo is banished. So essentially saying modern lamentation might have been moved. Ordinary lamentation is when you are mourning, when you are lamenting. It might have been moved. It might have been produced. An ordinary amount of sorrow would have followed. Tybalt is dead. Thy father's dead. Thy mother's dead. They're both dead. That's all well and good. But this is worse. This is worse. With a rearward following Tybalt's death, Romeo is banished. To speak that word, banished, is father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. So for Romeo to be banished is as bad as all of her family dying. She'd prefer that her parents both were dead than Romeo banished. Because if it was just Tybalt and both her parents, then Romeo and Juliet would still be alive. But with Romeo banished, everyone that she loves and cares about is dead. There is no end, no limit, measure bound in that word's death. No words can that woe sound. No words can fathom, can utter that woe. Where is my father, my mother, nurse? Weeping and wailing over Tybalt's corpse. Will you go to them? I will bring you thither. I will bring you there. Wash they his wounds with tears? So you would wash out the wounds, Tybalt's wounds. Are they washing with their tears? Mine shall be spent when theirs are dry for Romeo's banishment. Take up those cords, poor ropes. You are beguiled, both you and I, for Romeo is exiled. Meaning the ropes are cheated. Both you and I, ropes, are cheated because Romeo is exiled. He made you for a highway to my bed, but I, a maid, die maiden widowed. A maid is someone who has not got to experience the marital act. So she is going to die a maiden widowed, meaning that she's widowed, her husband's dead, and she will be a maiden widow. She never got to enjoy the marital act with him. Come, cords, come, nurse, I'll to my wedding bed and death. I'll to my wedding bed and death, not Romeo, take my maidenhead. So death shall take her body for himself, meaning that she's going to die. She will marry death by probably committing suicide. Not Romeo taking her maidenhead, which is her virginity. Hie to your chamber, I'll find Romeo to comfort you. I wot well where he is. I know well where he is. Hark ye, your Romeo will be here at night. Out to him, he is hid at Lawrence's cell. So the nurse knows where Romeo is and is going to send Romeo to Juliet's cell instead. She probably says this in response to what Juliet says, that death will be her husband, will take her maidenhead, and not Romeo, meaning she's going to kill herself. That's how upset she is about Romeo being banished. And Juliet says, oh, find him. Give this ring to my true knight. So she has a ring and says, give it to him. And bid him come to take his last farewell. His last farewell before he's banished and has to leave, and presumably then before she kills herself. And they leave. It's a big, heavy, heady scene. Juliet really has a lot of complex emotions. If you ever thought that Romeo and Juliet should just be sort of, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Just very bland, very much just reciting things in the most poetic poetry ways possible. That's a little redundant. No, Juliet has a rich, complicated inner life. This way, that way, highs, lows, all over the place. It takes a spectacular actress to pull her off. And now, here they are. Juliet has already shown what she's willing to do if she's going to be parted from Romeo. And she quite possibly will make good on that promise before the play is out. But as for you and me, dear friend, that is the end of Act 3, Scene 2. So we will see you next time.